Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, I can hear you, Coach, loud and clear. Welcome back um, to our top steppers.
Welcome
And
back. Sure. Happy Monday, everybody. Today is December 15th, 2025. Welcome back at the Buzzer, our market recap. This is your first time here. The goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is your first time here, I'm Coach Jay. Been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experiences, some wisdom, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. You are all our chat, our audience. Thank you for joining us each and every day that you do. We appreciate you being here. We cannot do these shows without you. Let us know how you did in the chat. Were you up on the day, down on the day? Anything that you learned from the day? More importantly, did you follow your plan today? Follow somebody else's plan? How did that work out? And we will get into the markets. Let's take a look at the Trader Hub to start. Not a lot on the calendar. We did have a New York Fed manufacturing number come in line with expectations. Actually, no, not in line with expectations. That was Canadian CPI was in line with expectations. New York Fed came in at negative 3.9. Forecast was 10. Canadian CPI came in at 2.2%. Forecast was 2.3%. CPI month over month came in at 0.1%. Forecast was 0.1%. We got some bigger numbers later this week. We have a non-farm payrolls tomorrow. Normally, non-farm is a Friday number, but it is Tuesday this week. So we will be covering that during the opening call tomorrow. Outside of that, we do have PCE on Friday, Michigan sentiment on Friday. So heavy news week later in the week, but it was pretty quiet today. Anything you have on the news, Coach Paul?
Nothing. So non-farm payrolls, is it going to be October's number, November's number? Do we know that?
These are November's numbers.
Okay. And now it's going to be released continuously on Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday,
No,
whatever.
I think this might have been. I don't know why they're releasing this on a Tuesday. I'm going to be honest, but
Okay.
they are. I think they're going to go back to normal after this one. But yeah, we're getting this one on a Tuesday.
Good to know.
A Tuesday, the 16th, where it's normally the first Friday of the month. But hey, guess you got to put the data out sometime.
All right.
Right. Outside of that, pretty quiet. So let's take a look at the quote board. There are 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts today. To the upside, to the downside, we had natural gas down 2.46%, micro Bitcoin futures down 5.18%, and micro Ethereum, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 5.22%. Those actually just switched. To the upside, we had copper up 0.91%, platinum up 2.98%, and silver, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, up 3.25%. Did not make a new all-time high, but silver up 3.25%. To talk about our big five, we have crude oil down 1.48%, the S&P down 0.11%, gold down 0.12%. We already mentioned natural gas down 2.45%, and the NASDAQ down 0.47%. To round up our big five, let's take a look at the NASDAQ chart on the daily. What are we seeing here, Coach Paul?
Weakness is starting to gather momentum to the downside. We had that big candle Friday. We couldn't even get to half of that, and we broke it, and we're settling towards the low of the range. Not good responsive buying. A bit of a head and shoulders, a head and shrug to the right side.
Yeah.
Also, it's settled under the 20 and the 50 daily moving average. Which have crossed and remain crossed. Now, this is the first time we've settled under both of that since last month, but we didn't recover all-time highs. So I'm just feeling weak. This needs to find some responsive buying. I think if we get some more weakness, we could see some profit taking in the last couple of weeks here. That's my personal view of this chart. Anything
What I'm
to add?
seeing, yeah, what I'm seeing on the daily, this October 10th candle, this was one of the last times we had a big reaction to tariffs. We said it last week. I don't know that we're done trading this candle. And we closed inside that candle yesterday. We'll take a look at the S&P because the S&P also did visit this same candle on the daily. Again, that is October 10th is the day we're looking at. And we're right back to this range. This candle, this October 10th candle, we also traded that very similar range on November 20th. It was almost the exact same range, maybe just a little off as far as the high and the low of the range go. But those are some of the highest volume candles on the daily we've had all year, outside of what happened in March and April. And those are significant volume candles, and these prices meant something to someone, right? The market is trading back here for a reason. It's what set the tone for my trades today. If you were listening during the opening call, we'll go down to a 30-minute chart. But one of the things we were looking at was, well, first of all, we were under that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. But last night we had a pretty nice rally. Pretty nice rally in the overnight session. But we get up, Coach Paul, to the high of that candle, right near that 25,400 level. And price advertised higher, but look at where VWAP was.
It was flat. It barely left. It was like forced over the range. And I saw last night's action, and that buying is floating after Friday's selling.
Yes. Yep. 100%. I would agree with that. We got to, if you look at some of the highest volume from Friday, we got to, I believe, where we traded up to was Friday's value area high, if you look at volume profile. And here's that value high, 25,400 volume value high. And price said no, the market said we're comfortable trading these prices, so we fall right back through that value range. The trade I was talking about during the opening call, and sometimes you put a hypothesis out there. This is our job as traders: put a hypothesis out there, see which one the market agrees with. And it was exactly that, right? Price is advertising higher than this candle, higher than value. But if there's no volume behind it, and I believe that volume moves the market, we're going to need some buyers to step in to push this thing higher. We didn't see that, and we fall right back through the range. We go down to a shorter time frame chart here, looking at the New York session open. Can anyone tell us what we define this as during At the Buzzer? That's exactly what we got. What trade? And Janish just said it. Beautiful urgency on the New York session open. Yeah, 100%, right? We left that range where we had price look above that level we were talking about, 388s to 400. VWAP never crossed above there. VWAP was a downsloping angle for most of the morning. And, could have taken it on the break. You could have taken it on the retest of the opening range, somewhere close to volume. And just a really nice trade. Really nice trade. We took out Friday's low. I took that trade. I was not in it until Friday's low, but that's not what I measured for, right? What I measured for was a test of VWAP, and I took about 60%, 70% of that move. So I'm not going to complain about it, but this was just a really nice sell-off until we got to Friday's low. And if we look at the candle that took out Friday's low, that kind of set the low for the day. One of the highest volume, actually the highest volume candle we saw outside of the first 6 minutes, and set the range, set the low of the range for the rest of the day, Coach Paul.
You said it, and it was also the initial balance.
Correct.
Was in that low, so it sold hard and fast. Then the selling stopped. Yep. This is my concern on the longer term, was we're not finding responsive buyers,
right?
By volume. That to me, that definition of today's low was short covering.
Oh yeah, agreed.
It's interesting. If we go back to the half hour and look at Friday's high volume, where we had 3
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that high volume was the last night's when we found that when we looked at the volume profile,
Yep.
that was the range. And that's
Pretty
something,
much.
yeah, that's not an accident. That is structure. And once again, it goes into we're not finding buying here, a responsive buying. It's not on sale yet.
No.
When we were talking earlier, I was looking for a place to buy it if I could get a J trade. But look at the volume overall today was tiny volume.
Oh yeah. Wow. I didn't even see that. Well, so here's the thing, right? We are coming out of rollover. We're near the end of rollover, right? So we are seeing the volume split between contracts, and maybe that's why we're not getting super directional right now. Um, because we do have the volume split between the
Mhm.
expiring December contract and the what would be the new front month contract, that March contract. Top X should be flipping over in a day or two, but that volume is split between two different contracts right now, which might mean they're still looking to get a relatively cheap rollover done here. But from a technical perspective, whether this was rollover or not, there was not enough buying to push this market up, and really nice sell here. Now, my question is, do we trade to back to 50% of this range? It's about 1.25, a little more than 1.25% from where we are right now. Uh, 25,000, obviously big fat round number. Everyone who's trading the NASDAQ is going to be aware when we're trading 25,000. But if there's no buying above 25,000 to hold us above there, I don't see another target before 24,775, which is 50% of this range.
Yeah,
We'll see what
I'm
happens.
with you on that. Yeah.
We shall see. Like you said, under that 20 and 50-day moving averages. I'm going to switch over to the S&P really quick because another one. Where's the where's the low of the day today in the S&P? The high
And
of that October.
yesterday and
Yep,
last week.
right. Someone likes this price for whatever reason. Whether it's probably an options level, it's definitely an options level. Jack talks about it a lot. Uh, but you know, I told Hogue this morning, Coach Paul, when we saw the market stop pretty much to the tick of the high of that candle, I said I'm gonna miss this candle when we eventually trade away from it because it's been providing so much information over the last couple of trading days that we're gonna have to find a new one, right? We're gonna have to find a new candle to anchor to. But it's been October 10th was that date. It's been 2 months, and we can reference the price of this candle. And again, stopping to the tick, kind of maybe ask myself right now why I didn't buy that. But you know, really nice area
You got
there
to,
for now.
well, if you do, you have to measure your risk, right?
100%. 100%. Risk probably goes, 2 ATRs or something like that. Maybe some price acceptance inside this candle, but a really nice stop there again. Uh, how do I choose that candle for reference? Great question, Parsuva. So for me, it is going to be high volume, right? A candle that sticks out and is usually an event. Now, like I said, in the S&P and the NASDAQ, we had two candles that we could probably reference here. October 10th is one, and then November 20th is the second one. Because this November 20th candle is an inside candle for this October 10th range, I'm choosing this one. And we gave this candle a name when it printed, right? It was the tariff tantrum candle. There was a day where there was mention of tariffs. It was the first time we mentioned tariffs in a long time, and it took out 2 months of price action almost, or a full month of price action. So that candle is significant until it's not, and that's really it there. Yeah, Trump trying to trade war volume 2 candle. We could call it that as
There-
well. Uh,
a little wordy, but very
right.
descriptive of what happened.
Exactly what happened. And you could do that on a shorter time frame as well, right? If we look at 30-minute charts, right? Looking at this 30-minute candle here from yesterday or from Friday, see how the market responds to that area when we get there. Other traders are going to use volume profile and things like that. For me, it just visually makes a little bit more sense just looking at the highest volume and seeing how the market responds there. But that's how we chose that candle. Anything else you got on the equities, Coach Paul?
Yeah, our cousin Rusty was pretty weak right off the bat today too, and it's been showing weakness Friday and today early, while others were still rotating. It decided early that it was going to sell.
Yes, it
Um,
did.
is that a 3-bar reversal?
I
I don't know.
More like I guess a 4-bar reversal, right? Because this one would have had to close below that one, but
Uh,
either way, it is a strong reversal pattern for sure. We made that all-time high Friday, 2605, and we turned around and seen some selling since then. You mentioned the 50% in the NASDAQ. We tagged 50% of that candle in the Russell, and some really nice selling here also. Back under the 200 moving average on the 30-minute.
yeah. And really couldn't find it. Once again, here's another one. Didn't find responsive buying. It just looks and the trade feels heavy, and it is. I mean, once again, look at today's. Well, it's the rollover.
Yeah.
So, um, just get this rollover over
Yeah, let's get it done.
over.
Let's get it done. Janish just said it in the
No,
chat. Yes, today's low volume could be because of rollover. Yeah, go ahead, Coach Paul.
what I would do is look at the cash if we
Right.
had it. I don't have it, but on that cash market, would see the volume if it was light, because it isn't going to be affected by the rollover.
100%. Really nice tag of that 50%. And again, I want to. We had a conversation with Dolby and Diamond Hands today. How many trade setups do you have in your playbook? And I think I can narrow it down to 4. This is one of my favorite ones here. If I've identified a level, a horizontal level, reading the volume at that level, price and volume at that level say a lot. Really more so the volume at that level. And in this case, what is that level we're talking about? 50% of Friday's range. Where's volume when we get there? Below it, right? So at some point, that volume starts to fail to continue to push us higher, even though price is trading higher. And there's a couple of different ways you can take this. You can wait for the market to get back below VWAP. You can trade into the VWAP. But I look for this setup a lot because it usually leads to a nice move, right? If you buy something and it doesn't go up, or you have that quote, Coach Paul. What is it? He who sells what isn't his.
What isn't his and buys it back or goes to prison.
Right.
By the way,
So
that came from reminiscences of a stock operator.
yep, there you go. Should I start trading opening hours? If you find a setup there could be a pretty good trade. I think the one thing I think we could probably both agree that we like about the opening is where the most volume is going to trade. So you probably get the most fluid price action, right? As volume slows down, moves are going to slow down. Look at what happened in the equities today, right? If you I'm going to pull up a NASDAQ chart again. Look at how fluid the price action was with high volume. The minute we started trading significantly or consistently below the moving average, what did price do? Start to chop around, maybe kind of feel a little bit random, stay in the range, but we have volume above the moving average and fluid price action. Once that drops, we have what I would determine as randomness, but you can still trade this. Right? There is still a range here, just not as directional. Anything else you got on the equities, Coach Paul?
No.
Let's take one quick look at the Dow. Made an all-time high last week as well, and pulling off of that all-time high, very similar here. But let's take a look at gold, the metals in general. Here's gold on a daily. What are you seeing here?
I see quickened pace to the upside. We have that rounding going on, higher highs, higher lows. We're still above that 50% of the all-time high candle. And we had some urgency early last night, traded off of it, but the structure still on the daily is very friendly.
I agree.
So last night we did have urgency and a nice trade, a nice rally of like, what was it, about $50, $60. Um, but once again, once it had that rally, what happens? Prices went sideways, volume point of control flipped to the upside, and we rotated right back down. But we're still above the 200-day moving average. Still looks friendly to me. Um, so I think it was silver was a different story, but gold it had two nice moves for
It
those
did.
of you. So I'm still very friendly to it. Some nice trading, good opportunity.
Absolutely. One of the things I want to point out again, looking at you could look at a volume profile from the prior day. I'm just curious here. I want to see what happens here. Point of control up at this high, value area high, 43.84. A couple different ways you could use this. Volume profile, I think, is a great tool. I see a lot of traders using it. I've probably started adding it to my charts just a little bit more. It's like, hey, you read volume for everything else. But what I found is this high volume candle, this high volume 30-minute candle, and the value area are pretty much the same candle, right? So then it's almost the same read here. What happens at value high? We had the market push up really strong this morning, like we were talking about. Push up to that value high. You up never crossed above the point of control. Same trade, right? Got pretty thin up here, and then we come back down, have a nice reversion trade right back through that highest volume candle of the day. Still a market that's pushing up. We did technically close the day higher than we opened. Pretty small range there, up 0.1% on the day. But at some point, I'm with you, Coach Paul. We got to be testing this high, this candle, maybe, and some all-time highs, because this does look like it is still a very bullish market for now. As long as we hold above 42.82, which is 50% of this daily candle. All right, let's take a look at silver. You did mention that. We talked about this one on Friday as well, Coach Paul. Friday's low was going to be very important in silver, and we held it. Didn't even test it.
No, but we're trading inside, so we have 3 days in a row at all-time highs.
Yep.
Something's going to happen. It's not going to go this way much longer.
Right.
It's still in an uptrend, taking a breath. Wow. What's to say? I don't want to get shorted myself, that personally.
Yeah.
So let's look at last night's action.
What is that white line? The 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart here. Really nice test of that 200 moving average. And from that point, we saw some real buying coming in. Another one where, you can look at the Globex session open, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, but looking at where the volume started to pick up in the overnight session, that Shanghai metal open, that's where the move really started going. Really nice move here in silver. I know Dakota caught a piece of this during slow markets last night. It's a really nice trade here. It's an expensive market. We continue to say that, $25 a tick. That is a huge move here. That's not a little bit of money, even with a one lot big contract in silver or the micros. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
I can't think of any account at Topstep that can afford the risk of trading a big silver.
Yeah.
It's $25 a penny. It's trading average of 200 pennies a day.
A lot of pennies.
Do the math.
A lot of pennies.
You can't afford to be wrong.
Right.
So I just had to add that in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of pennies. Again, if you're going to be trading silver, maybe consider trading the micro contract SIL, $5 a tick. We saw Dakota. That's exactly what he traded in the live account as well. With a balance that's probably bigger than a lot of combines and XFAs that we have out there. So take advantage of the opportunity, because it is presenting opportunity, but make sure you have an account to be able to experience some of the opportunity. Because the worst thing is sitting here and be like, oh yeah, I caught I caught the whole move in silver in a practice account. It's like at some point, you want to play in the real game. It's like my younger brothers, and maybe they might be listening right now. But when I used to play video games and they were younger, and I would just give them the controller that's not plugged in, like you don't want to. At some point, you want to play, right? So you can't keep
It's
using a practice account. Yeah,
you're
they caught
not
on
the only
eventually.
big brother who did that, huh?
No, not at all. They caught on eventually.
Uh,
You got to know how to play the game before you play it.
yeah.
Make sure you're in the game.
Well, I like what I
Even
read here. Even
Yep.
SFI 2188, even micro silver is too big for me. That's it's a great comment. You understand the risk. Maybe they need to come up with a nano. You heard it here first, folks.
If this starts trading up near $100, they got to do something. I think I mean, brokerages have already
They
increased margin
will.
requirements. Yeah, they have to. Brokers have increased margin requirements, and they did that a while ago, right? The margin requirements, I think, were increased when we were trading in the 40s. So
Oh,
I
and
think,
they will be, and they
yeah.
are. I get that notice all the time.
Yeah. One SIL is fine for me. Corey Smith says, I think Topstep. Corey, sorry, but I got to correct you. It's Topstep, one word. Should come out with a list of all the prices per tick. It's on the Topstep website. It's on the Topstep website in the help center. You can get all the tick values for every contract that we trade. Get them from there.
Good
You can get
idea.
them from the CME site. And there's a calculator also that I could probably share the link to if I could find the link to it. Anything else you got on silver, Coach Paul?
That's it.
Right. Take a look at digital metal, micro Bitcoin. I saw something on Twitter, and cite your sources, right? It's Twitter.
Oh.
But saying that there was can't remember the number, but billions of dollars of liquidations in crypto over the past couple of days. This is looking pretty heavy here. What are you seeing here on this daily?
Well, I'm going to quote you. Looking really heavy. There's
Yeah.
there was a classic dead cat bounce. Now we got above the 20-day moving average, but that was resting there.
Yeah.
We didn't get much volume over it. It was kind of, and next, you've already marked it out. We went to the 50% of the J trade candle on the daily. This is, in my analysis, the line in the sand.
100%.
And the history of cryptos are violent moves. It wasn't but a couple months ago was, when's it going to trade 200,000?
Right.
But first, we could go to 50, 35. And this is how
Coach Paul, let me call
Bitcoin's
you.
history is.
I'm going to jump right back on. I just got to take a call real quick.
All right.
Go ahead, keep going.
So you were talking about billions of dollars of liquidation, and two things: we're lower on the year, so at the end of the year, some people are looking year to year, but then we're not all on the same fiscal calendar, but some funds. If it's not working, they get rid of it at the end of the year. I think that is an influence. But this could pick up speed to the downside. Yeah, Billy could be over leveraged animals. Yeah, on funds, absolutely. And then they look at, by the way, this is still trading in D's, so that there's the rollover happens literally on the last day. I mean, that rollover is violent, and we're not there yet. But look at the selling volume. the last 3 days. Huge. And they're not getting a response, a responsive buying. We're making new lows. So if we break that J trade daily low, man, we could really pick up steam to the downside. Yeah. Coach Jay, are you muted?
Yep. Yeah, I
I hear
definitely is.
you.
Yeah, I was giving away the secrets. You could hear me,
Yeah.
but the chat couldn't hear me. Sorry.
And don't
Uh,
ever say that again.
sorry about that, chat. I was double muted. Um, what I'm talking about here is 50% of that candle, 85,000, or 85,985 is the price. You got pretty close to that low today. But how can I trade this for a day trade? And micro Bitcoin is a great trade. I personally don't have an opinion. You know, there's some people that's like, oh, crypto is a bunch of bullshit. It needs to go to zero. This is not real. It's fake money. And there's a bunch of people that's just like everything else is fake money and Bitcoin is the only thing that's real and it needs. I just want to trade it. Uh, and it presents trading opportunities to me because what I can still pay, you know, I could trade micro Bitcoin and exchange that money for dollars or take those dollars that I make from trading micro Bitcoin and buy more Bitcoin for whatever I believe in, right? Just like any other stock or investment that you would use it for. We're here to day trade it. So I don't really have an opinion about where this is going to go. But for right now, it looks heavy. And, you know, same thing we did with the equities. You look at the highest volume from the prior day on a 30-minute, and we could see it here, but price barely accepted inside that range. Volume didn't even take an attempt to look at it, and just a really nice rejection from there. So there was somebody in the chat earlier today that said, you know, they didn't have a playbook. This is now the third market in a row that we've seen volume failure and a reversion back to it play out. So maybe review this one. That's a setup that you could add to your playbook.
Janice asked a question is how do you define responsive buying? Here's an example. Look at the size of the selling and just in that framework right there. And then the buying, look at the size of the volume and the size of the candle. So instead of there's no value, responsive value, like someone took that imbalance or a large trade came in or it doesn't matter. Volume couldn't take that selling and turn it around or
Right.
even defend it.
Right.
It's really like someone got caught with the hot potato and went, how am I going to get rid of this now? That's what I define as responsive buying. There's buying. We see it in the volume, but it's not responsive. It isn't giving any value. So with that, we also look at VWAP and the shape of VWAP. It's turning down, staying down. That's last night was the dead cat bounce. When volume came in, they couldn't find buyers. I hope that helps.
And you know, you can maybe even look at Bitcoin around the same time you look at the equities. Here is the equity open. Very similar trade there, right? With all the Coach Paul. So another one. Cite your sources. My source is Twitter. So you know, here we go. But I saw
I've
somebody post
seen it on Twitter. It's got
right.
to be true.
I saw a post on Twitter that's said the uh, Bank of Japan rate decisions have coincided with a 20% correction in Bitcoin the last 4 times. And we have a Bank of
Wow.
Japan rate decision on Thursday, I believe. So that's just
Interesting.
information. What we do with that, I don't know, right? We'll see what happens. We'll see if this
This
time is the same. But we do have a Bank of Japan rate decision Thursday night. We'll see.
all right, I'll mark that down.
We will see. All right. Let's see. Is that gap from Bitcoin on the minute chart? So this gap, if you look, this gap here is the Sunday gap, right? Bitcoin is a 24/7 market, but with the futures, we can only trade it 23 hours. So this gap is Sunday's price action, right? Where spot Bitcoin is still going to trade
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, correct? Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, that's what that gap is there. Boris is what are you, long or short? NQ bouncing, adding 10 more. Let's see here. Let's take a look at crude oil on the daily. This one is starting to move also. We're getting closer to the president's goal of $55 a barrel. What are you seeing here in crude oil? It's not been one I've traded much, but
Continuation. It's the slow. It's like watching ice melt. You got to be patient. You got to pick your spots, but still trending lower. Hasn't made the low of the year yet, has it? Or for this move, we're still finding some support down here. But it's leaking lower.
yeah, yes, that's a great word for it. It is it's like there's like a pinhole slowly leaking lower.
Yeah.
You know, this low here, 55, what is this low? 55.86. Looks like a target. It's in range for tomorrow if we continue to sell off here. It's about 80 cents away. Daily ATR is about $1.40 in crude. So it's been a decent trade if anyone has been trading it. JD, I saw you in the chat. Have you been trading crude oil? I'm going to be honest, it's not one that I looked at, but maybe I'm ignoring a pretty nice trend here. But we are seeing some downside pressure to crude oil. One of the things I know, Coach Paul, that you've talked about is maybe I start looking at crude oil when the London session opens. And it's a much different trade than what we saw. You look at the Globex session.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
London's calling. And
Right.
do I get up that early? Do I move east?
Right.
I don't know, but that's where it's happening. That's where the action's starting. That's the new open. By the time New York opens, there's some meat left on the bone, but the action's starting in London, and we've seen this consistently.
Yep.
But with that said, we couldn't even get a good J trade. Look at that volume, even at the low, it never closed above until the close.
Right.
And that doesn't count because the day's over.
Yep.
But that's hardly, and once again, responsive buying. That's not responsive buying. That's short covering. So, yeah, it's still hasn't found a bottom, and it's trending slowly.
Yes, it is. Nice trade there. House count did not take the opening range trade today. I think it would have turned out to be a pretty good one. Here's the open. And if we take it, you know, handle close outside the range, decent trade there. And I haven't been trading crude oil much. I saw in the chat somebody had asked about a potential J trade on the 5-minute. One of the highest volume, actually, that was the highest volume candle that we saw. You asked in the chat while I was on air, would you take this trade? I said no. But I'm saying no because I don't want to trade crude oil. To me, it is just, I don't see the opportunity in it. But nice trade. Nice trade that you took there. Because got a candle close outside that range, came right back down to the low tick of it. So hopefully you you gave at least one tick for your stop below this low. But really nice trade here. We have a question. JD says I hate crude at this point. We got a question. Can you explain the J trade? We can. So what we're looking for is it's a reversal trade, right? So Dakota has the 3-bar reversal. What we're looking for is a reversal off the highest volume of the day, which is normally at the high or the low of the day. Now, how do I know that it's the low of the day, Coach Paul?
I don't.
You don't,
But
right?
until it's over.
Right. You don't know it's the low until the day is over. But what we're waiting for, because I don't know, right? There's uncertainty every time we interact with the markets, right? Because I don't know when the low of the day is going to happen. What makes it a J trade is waiting for the candle to close on the opposite side of that trade, right? So here's the highest volume. I'm on a 5-minute chart. Here's the highest volume 5-minute candle that we had all day. It was about 2 times the average volume, a little bit more than 2 times the average. We get a candle close outside of this. So this isn't a trade until here. So what we're saying is identify this high volume, and it's not, you don't get a trade signal for another 15 minutes or so, right? So what does that mean? It requires some patience to take this trade. But now if I get long on that candle close, risk goes below the candle somewhere. Maybe you can go 2 ATRs. We go 2 ATRs on a 5-minute, 24 ticks. And that's the trade from there, right? This one, it's crude oil. So take what you can get out of this market. It's not going to be the biggest trade, but that's the trade there, right? But you do have to wait for that candle close, because if you don't wait, this was also the low of the day, right? This candle right here, at the point that that candle printed, was the low of the day. Sometimes high volume means continuation. So if I preempt this one, I see a lot of traders doing this in the chat because you want to catch the trade. But even this one, highest volume 5-minute candle on the day, you could preempt this and say, oh yeah, that was the highest volume. This is going to be a J trade. And you buy it. Never trades outside of that high. And then it does, but it never closes above that high. What ends up happening? It falls apart. So waiting for that candle, if you're looking, because again, sometimes high volume means continuation. There are times where I see high volume and it's different than a reversal, right? Where sometimes this high volume is the perfect opportunity to sell against this high if it's in flow. So unless that candle closes outside, taking a different trade. And that might be okay, right? You might have identified something that confirms what you're looking for, but this one doesn't end up being a reversal until we close outside. J trade in the NASDAQ, please. We were kind of considering this one, but even then, here's a 5-minute chart. Yeah, that's the highest volume, one of the highest volume candles we've had outside of the open. It made the low for the day on the 5-minute. We close outside. There's a decent trade there. And if you heard Dakota today during fast markets, right? Shout out to Dakota, great trader, trades on live all the time, every day. He said it. He was preempting along the entire way down, but if he waited for the 1 3-bar reversal on a 5-minute that actually confirmed, he has a winning day, right? So sometimes, and I'm not naive, right? I'm a trader as well. Coach Paul, how often do you preempt trades? Does it still happen?
Yeah, a lot less.
Yeah, yeah,
A matter of fact, that was been my focus.
yep,
Because when I reviewed those preemptions,
yeah,
just losing money. Because I'm only human.
yeah,
I don't jump in because that's what I want to see. Now,
yep,
one of the things in really is it's what we want to see, because really as traders, we're managing our beliefs. So I want to believe that it's going to do that, and I'll make a little extra. Well, that's not a confirmation. So if wait for it to happen. If it's that good, it will show. So yeah, I had to focus on it probably the last 3 months. I've really improved on it. I still have to struggle with it.
100%. And does confirmation mean that your trade is gonna be a winner?
Oh no, absolutely not. But it's because it goes back to what are we managing? Our beliefs that, but we still have uncertainty.
Yeah,
One of the tricks is, or one of the traps is thinking that if we find certainty and the disappointment where, oh no, oh,
yep,
it's always uncertain. So we have to
always.
manage that. And when we get into preemption, we're not managing it. We're wanting.
Right. 100%. Uh, Amara says, "Does the J trade work when selling too?" It does. I'm trying to think of where we might have seen one recently.
We saw one in gold last week.
Did we? We did, right? High
It was
volume at
up,
the high.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
did see it. Yeah, right up here. Yep, right up here.
Yeah,
So here's it in gold last week. It was this candle. Set the high for the day. One of the highest volume candles that we had. Once we closed outside of that, there you go. Uh, and I see a comment here. JD, confirmation is hard to come by. Have to take the risk sometimes. Yes and no. Yes and no. I think sometimes if you wait too long for confirmation, it depends. I think it depends where your confirmation gets you into a trade. Um, and sometimes we see this trade where we might get a really aggressive candle, right? Where let's say that was the range of the trade, and we don't get a close until down here. Now I got to ask. This is my confirmation. Now I got to ask whether or not I can still accept the risk on this trade. Um, But similar to what Coach Paul just said, one of the things you've been focusing on, and I know when we're trading, that's one of the biggest focuses is trying to avoid preempting the trades. I have to say that waiting for confirmation has helped a ton. Uh, this entire sell down today, Coach Paul, we were saying, hey, is that the potential? Is that potential? And until an actual confirmation, none of these would have been good trades.
yeah.
And the only reason I would have been taking this trade is because I'm preempting the trade. And then in hindsight, and of course we get to review in hindsight during at the buzzer, but in real time, I think we both had that. It was just like, hey, am I looking for a long because I want to buy it and look for that reversal, or should I wait? And waiting definitely helped today,
It comes
because
to
that flow
me
was so
is
heavy to the downside.
that all this talk defines what John Wooden, to me, the
Mm,
greatest basketball coach of all time, he called it be quick, but don't hurry.
yeah, yep,
When you're in a hurry, what are you doing? You're preempting. You're in
yeah,
a hurry, you want it. When you're quick, you let it happen. And that's really what you want. That's
yeah,
the patience. That's where experience comes in. But when we're preempting, we're in a hurry. And what happens when you're in a hurry, especially on a basketball court?
yeah.
Turnovers.
Oh yeah, yeah. They want you like coach Paul. We could do a little basketball coaching here, and anyone who's played a sport, but full court pressure is intended to do what?
Force errors,
Force
hurry
error.
people up.
Yep. Want to make you play faster. So when you see the market aggressively selling off, if you're not in it, right? Sometimes
Yep.
and I've done this, right? I see a 200-point sell off in the Nasdaq. I miss this move, so then I start to think, well, I got to catch the next one, and by default, I don't know if this is anybody else. I'm just speaking about me right now. By default, missing a 200-point sell off says that I should buy it, and that's a response to pressure, right? And that's not going to be the case all the time, right? But there's a way. I'm gonna basketball nerd out for a little bit. That's why this show is called At the Buzzer, because me and Coach Paul are both basketball coaches. You could beat a full court press if it's a diamond press, a 2-2-1. You could beat it in 2 passes,
Yep.
but
That's
you
why
have
they
to wait.
don't. That's why they don't press in the pros.
Exactly. Exactly, right? You could beat it in 2 passes because it's the same structure, right? One pass shifts the pressure to the middle, then one more pass, you would have a dunk if you were
It's,
playing with anyone elite high school level or up. It's 2 passes, so you can't really do it. But if I try to dribble through the press and make frantic decisions, probably make a turnover. So be quick, but don't be in it.
yeah. But matter of fact, I'm gonna put that back up. I used to have that. uh, yeah, on a card and put on my desk. But that that's the answer if you're preempting.
100%. All right, let's we went over crude oil. Any other markets we want to talk about? Oh, someone asked, why is natural gas selling off? It's winter. Uh, more buyers than sellers. We do have a J trade on the daily, or sorry, more sellers than buyers in this case. Uh, it's technically not even winter yet.
Yeah, we still have
Technically not
about a
even winter
week.
yet. I
What
did
what year?
hear
It's the 20th or 21st this year.
21st, yeah,
Uh,
21st. I did hear Coach Hoop last week talking about, maybe some weather projections not being as on par with what they were looking for, right? As accurate as what they were looking for. I think they was expecting a little bit more cold than what we actually got. I don't know where they're not seeing cold. It was 17 degrees this morning when I went to walk my dog, but I heard it's pretty cold in Chicago too. But uh,
no, it was 5
5 degrees.
when I woke up this morning and
Damn,
I started
we got a
walking
heat
in the
wave over here.
office. And, well, it's yeah. It's you know what the difference between 5 degrees and 15 when you're outside? Nothing.
Yeah,
It's damn cold, right?
right.
Oh, it's so much warmer now that it's 15 degrees.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
but
I think this is a case where, you could think fundamentally. We talked about it. We talked about, hey, coming into winter, coming into colder weather, we may see the market rally. Uh, in hindsight, was that just attaching a reason to why the market was rallying? And this is why. And I'm guilty of it, right? I said it. Hey, coming into the winter, I'm looking for the market to rally. Did it have to rally if no one else was going to buy it? That's the real question, right? It can do whatever it wants to. It could have rallied for something else, some other fundamental reason that I am not aware of because I don't trade natural gas all the time, right? But trading the technical patterns, uh, saw a reversal at the high. I don't know why this reversed here. There could have been a reason, but someone else who, and my trading mentor used to say all the time, you get paid to be we get paid as day traders to be great followers. Someone else who natural gas is their life knows why this is reversing. I just have to follow them. And if I try to make sense of it, the person who made their entire life natural gas has a way better advantage than I do. Uh, so really nice sell off here. But
well,
anything you
and
have on the natural gas chart, Coach Paul?
well, it's a good question. Why? And we go back to why, but it goes back to certainty versus uncertainty. We never get certainty, but we get information. So the way I looked at it is that 200 moving average on the half hour. If it's
Yep.
under it, I'm looking to sell it because the trend is at that point turning to down. So if we go back to where it got under the 200 on the half hour, and volume followed. So last week, doesn't matter. We're traders. Our job isn't to know why, is to know what's going on right now.
Yep.
Who's in control? Buyers or sellers or neither? But for mine, it's the 200 on the half hour. That gives me the trend. So then I'm looking for structure to sell it. And there was plenty of structure. On the way up, same, I'm looking on the buy side. As day traders, one dangerous thing in our subconscious to ask why. It holds us back.
Yep.
It's you as traders, we need to look for some structure that gives us an idea if there's an imbalance that we can take advantage of. Well, I know this. When I first started, I had to know why. I knew everything fundamentally, except I didn't know how to manage my trade or manage my account.
Yep.
By the way, you'll know why after.
Oh yeah. And if that wasn't the real reason, there'll be another one. Newspapers don't have blank pages.
No, wait.
We have a question here from Red Torrent Media. Also, Coach Paul, any other markets you want to talk about? We got a couple minutes here. Red Torrent Media says, Coach Jay, did you hit your personal daily loss limit? How did you process that within the day? It would be awesome to hear your input on that. So I did hit a personal daily loss limit. In this case, it was a trailing personal daily loss limit, which means I was okay continuing to trade, but I wasn't going to give back more than $400 from my P&L high. So, processing it, this is easier to process because I'm still ending the day green. But what that to me says is, hey, you may still see a trade opportunity. If you don't see a trade opportunity, don't allow a losing trade to get too deep in your pockets. I think it's a great feature to use. We see Mandy use it all the time. Hey, I can continue to trade if I continue to see opportunities, but I don't want to throw away all the work I've done for the day. It doesn't even have to be emotional decisions, right? There's to me, a finite amount of time where we can make quality decisions. And if I continue to stare at the charts, in my experience, the quality of those decisions turn from what were great decisions this morning. Like I was really happy how I traded the morning. But if I continue to sit at my desk and make decisions, they turn from great decisions to shit decisions. Like, sorry, I can't find a better word. The quality of my decisions just decrease over time because you're sitting here, fatigue, you're constantly looking for opportunity, constantly measuring. And as a volume trader, the volume slowed down. Right? We talked about the fluidity of price action before, right? Really fluid price action. This was where most of my profits were made on the day. Low volume, this is where I get chopped up. So making sure I stayed out of that was why I used that personal daily loss limit. Coach Hoop says, I can find a trade, Jay. Trust me. Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah,
there's 36 different markets, right? If I don't like this one, I could scan. You might find me trading the peso, right, or the Australian dollar, right? So, making sure you lock it up.
Well, one other thing with Coach Hoop is I can find a trade, Jay. Trust me, or I'd rather find a J trade.
That's what I thought it said. I'm like, oh yeah, where did he find one?
Yeah, that's
let me know. But
that's
yeah,
specific. I'm looking for that trade versus
100%.
the randomness of I got to make money, and that's where we go. You can find a trade.
Yep.
Just be careful of that. That's we were talking about it last week, or the marginal trades. To me, marginal trades is another example of being in a hurry.
Yep.
Feeling I got a trade. No, you don't. Good discussion.
100%. Great discussion here. Any other markets you want to take a look at, Coach Paul? We did a lot. We looked at all the
We did
metals,
a lot.
Bitcoin, equities, energies. Good stuff today, everybody.
Yeah, and great contributions from our audience. We appreciate that. Other than that, no, I'm kind of done.
Let's do it, Coach Paul. Let's get out of here. Anything you want to say before we go?
Plan your trade, trade your plan, look for a specific trade. Don't randomize yourself.
Oh,
All right.
here's a good question here. How do you trade NFP day? When's the last real NFP day we got? Well, I'll go over this real quick. When's the last real NFP? Because somebody give me the date. It had to be before October, right? September, I think it was September 5th. September 5th.
I think that's it right there.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Oh, nope, that was October 10th. That was October 10th. September 5th, I think, was the last NFP day. So how am I going to trade this? I'm not going to guess what this candle does. If I try to guess what this candle does, I'm going to be in trouble. Because I could get it right. But if I get it wrong, it's not a small wrong. Even if I have a stop set somewhere, right? If you've seen how markets move on that data, order books get very thin. So if you take a trade trying to guess where this goes tomorrow and it's wrong, just understand that you're probably not going to get filled where you think your stop should get filled, especially in the NASDAQ. Even in a sim account, right? I've seen people say, how do sim accounts have slippage? They're not real markets. You're just not even preparing to try to trade real markets ever, if that's your response, right? The sim markets replicate the live markets. Look at the live markets tomorrow. We'll do it during the opening call. The order book is going to be extremely thin. So I'm not going to try to guess what happens here, but I will trade after it, right? We have volume leaving that range to the upside on September 5th. And then really what I want to do is when I know more volume is going to come in for the day, which is that New York session open, how does this volume now respond to the data that we got? But that's really no different than any other trading day outside of maybe not having a trade on any equities right as the numbers released. What about you, Coach Paul? How will you trade NFP?
Exactly like you just said. I'm not going to trade the news on the dates.
Yeah.
I'm going to see when New York opens up and how volume handles it. Volume meaning larger users of the market.
Yep.
Other than that, I call that fragmented trading into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen this on time. It's not a secret. What is your job as a day trader?
Find the flow.
To find the flow, get trading it or getting in front of it. That's for entities that have to be in it. The choice is you don't have to be in it. And I strongly suggest, I don't know how many traders do we know that regularly beat that.
Nope. Yeah, doesn't happen often. How did I get the Fibonacci? It's just a drawing tool. 3 icons down from the drawing tools, you have Fib retracement. Alt F is the hotkey for it. Excuse me. And mine looks like it does because I took all of the other levels out of the middle, right? You have all these other Fib levels. I just want to know high, low, 50% of wherever I anchor those Fibs to. That's mine there. All right. I think we are going to wrap it up there. Thanks, Coach Paul, as always. Thank you, chat, for joining. Have coaches doing classes in Discord. Coach Hoop doing his class at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Coach Ray at 7. Coach Vince at 8. Dakota for slow markets tonight at 8:30 Eastern. I will be joining him tonight. Then we have Aaron with the London Open, 2:30 a.m. Eastern. D with the Euro trade at 4:30 a.m. And then we will be back for the opening call tomorrow, 8:15, covering that non-farm release and all of the other markets. Haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button on the way out. We appreciate you all being here. Trade well, manage your risk, and we'll see you soon.